I've been working this case for like 6 years since all those videos came out in 2019 or whenever it was. And Joel Berlinger and No Man of God and Conversations with a Killer and so on and on. Um, Bundy was in Jacksonville in June of 67, and I finally came to a conclusion on why that would be. He met the woman, Diane Marjorie Jean Edwards, in March of 67, February or March, according to Ann Rule, and it was a pretty good relationship. But he had these urges and he needed to act on those urges before he said, and he may have killed before. He may have killed when he was 15 and killed the little girl, but he had to act on those urges. So rather than going straight to Palo Alto, he rents a red VW and he comes ass all the way across the country, and we're at Jeb Stewart, and that's when the whole situation occurs with Debbie and her sandals, and she was on break from band practice, and he must have told her something. I'm assuming he told her something like, "I'm going to be coaching here next year," or "We're going to do some renovations to the building. That's why I'm here," or something. "If I see you during break, if I see you when I get done, I'll pick you up." And that's why when she was sitting on the bleachers, and I wanted to go home because my family was going to Daytona that very weekend, June 5th, 1967. I said, "I'll hitchhike. You want me to hitchhike, Debbie?" And I crossed the street and pretended to hitchhike until that red Volkswagen came by. And he said his name. I said, when he displayed the gun to the ceiling of the car, which had little peg holes, it was white with peg holes. And I said, "What is your name?" And he said, "Theodore." And I said, "Theodore?" Because I thought it was so pretentious. And I said, "Well, what is your last name?" And he said, "Bundy." And I said, "Your name is Bundy like my clarinet, and your gun is silver like Debbie's flute." Debbie's father's an admiral at NASA. But anyway, so he had these urges. Where would you go if you have these urges that you cannot control? You're going to try to get as far away from California and Seattle, which would be plumb across the country, just like Koberger. He came across the country. Why was he at Jeb Stewart? And that puts him at Jeb Stewart twice. And I'm going to tell you something. There's a reason that Debbie, Vicky, and Jeannie won't talk. Their mother was bipolar, manic depressant, electric shock therapy, and she had to maintain a certain way. She had a house with 3 daughters, a divorce from the commander at NASA, who obviously gave support. Jeannie, I'm not going to go into it now, but let me just say that there's some mental illness in the family in a sense. I don't think of that as a negative thing. It's just that it's surviving. Anyway, I'll bring more on the topic later. Thank you.